Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are about to arrive at the hesitation station. Please mind your step as you enter the station.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hesitation Station. We are so happy you guys are here and listening to us ramble on and on and on because I know we do that a lot. I am Jay, along with my co-host Tank. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Super excited.
Why are you super duper excited?
Because I think Napa's coming around at some point, and then we have a very important guest here today.
Well, Napa is coming around because here, hold on. Let me go get him. Hold on. Damn. Vegeta, hold on. I gotta get on this podcast. Hey, what's your name?
Tank?
Tank, do you know who we're gonna have on today?
I think I do. Who do we have?
Well, for my favorite anime, it's Dragon Ball Z, and Vegeta likes it too.
Well, as the prince, I would hope he would like it. Isn't
Vegeta,
he a big part of it?
Get back over here. Hold on. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. He's kind of a lot to handle. So
Yes, he is.
all right, anyway, everybody, we have a Dragon Ball Z fan as well as a Dragon Ball Z voice actor. And we want to welcome her with open arms. So please give a round of applause because, you have the effects, by the way. Give her a round of applause for Miss Cynthia Cranz. I hope I said that right. Did I say that right?
You so said it right. I love the applause. I want it every time I walk into any room.
Like
Well,
just
we
walk
can
into
guarantee
Starbucks.
that here.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, she plays the lovely but yet very violent Chi-Chi.
You only think she's violent because she intimidates you.
That's fair. I mean, she intimidates Goku too, so.
Fair.
That's her superpower.
Is
that and cooking
intimidation.
are her superpower.
She wanted Gohan to become a good, civilized person of society, aka lame.
That makes money to support his family, and I have mixed feelings on that. But yes, that's where when I can like justify her anger. All she wants is her family to be together and safe and be able to just afford to live like normal people.
I think that's all any mom really wants.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Unless you're my stepmom, but that's a whole other story.
That's a whole other breed there.
It's a book, man. But yes, most actual human people, that's all they want.
That's fair. Well, as many of you guys know, I went to Texas Comic-Con or West Coast Comic-Con. I think that's what it's called, right?
One in Lubbock, right?
Yeah, one in Lubbock. And
it wasn't on the coast. It actually was the Desert Comic-Con.
It was a Sunblaze Comic-Con is what it was. That's what it was.
It was, but it was a great show. And I'm so glad I went and I got to meet you.
Yep. I got to meet you over there and we talked a lot. And I was like, man, I am ready for her to call security and be like, get this dude away from my table.
Oh, whatever.
But no, that's when they call for me.
Right.
Like, there's a sludge man over here. Please escort him away.
Yes, we hate it when people come over who admire our work and maybe want to get us on their podcast. It's so insulting.
Yeah, we've done really well for this podcast actually, and I did not think we would get this far, let alone let alone you say yes to coming on. Like I was so happy when you're like, yeah, sure. I was like,
Aw.
yes.
I was so honored to be asked.
Well, let's talk about you. We can touch up on Chi Chi here in a little bit and your voice acting roles, but let's talk about you. What is Cynthia like?
Wow. Um, it's such a weird 'cause I was the weird kid, and I was very private and played in my room alone a lot. I went through a lot of stuff that many people, parents divorcing, moving from one place to another, but, I think the thing that kept me stable were my grandmothers who lived around the corner or were every week a part of my life until I was in my late 30s. And then my sport, which I got from my mother, I've been riding horses since in utero. So that those have been my stabilizing factors. I I I have lived uh, partially in privilege. I have lived partially in poverty. I've lived in between. Um, I do have faith in my higher power. I'm a Christian, but I'm not a judgy one. I'm taught by my grandmother, you just worry about yourself and pray and not fire and brimstones kind of Christian. And that helps me a lot. Sense of humor is very important to me. And I'm a big why person. Like, I want to know why this works. Um, I'm very passionate about things. My husband, my family, certain obviously social things, governmental things, but I'm also very silly. I can't control all that, so I like to compartmentalize. Laughter is a huge part of my life, in my family, and my marriage, and I'm very compassionate. This is not me, like, checking off, "Look how good I am." It's just honest answers. I'm very literal, so if you say, "Everybody's doing this," I think, like, the whole world is gonna do it, which is I'm not dumb, I'm very intelligent, but I have this dingy part. I love animals, I love gardening, I love cooking. I I'm kind of an introvert. I really need to power down by myself, but I also love like interacting with people and the fans. So I feel weird talking so much about myself, but I can't really explain me. I can just tell you things about me.
That's fair. How come I always make friends uh with introverts? I don't
See
I don't
that?
understand.
What is it you always say? You get what you deserve.
I
You're
guess.
always outgoing and everything, and I'm over
Mhm.
here like, please don't touch me.
Please don't
Well,
touch
but
me.
I have both. It's like I definitely love being in socially seeing people I know and enjoy, and I love meeting the fans and interacting, and I have no that is not a trauma to me. But to power up again, I'm gonna need a day or 2 alone.
Yeah,
So
I feel
I
that.
you know, that's, the best way I can describe it.
Like we'll go out to a con and like we worked the Jackson Comic Con a couple weeks ago,
mhm.
and it was
Mhm.
great. I loved it. But after it was all said and done, I'm like, cool. Now I can go back to my little hidey hole and rest and be alone.
It's like, "Don't touch me,
Yeah,
anybody."
and it is, and I have to laugh because I really am authentically me, but when you're sitting at, a convention for 8, 10 hours and you have to be your most upbeat and polite because you don't want I mean, I literally appreciate anyone that knows who I am or cares about my work, so that is not fake. But the energy expended trying to, authentically engage with each person can be exhausting, and then with your off premises, maybe you're being looked at as to, how are they when they're not in front of the fans? So you still have to be the best version of yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I laugh because my husband and again, I don't want this to sound like I'm faking it. I'm not. I'm just me extra. And then he's like, "Why are you tired when you come home? You just sit at a chair all day." And I'm like, "Oh goodness."
Con energy
Um,
is a
I
real
feel that.
thing,
Yes.
Mitch.
it is. It is. For instance, when we compete at horse shows and the equestrian events, you physically move your horse and all their gear and your gear in. It's a whole move day, and you're stressed and you're doing your events and it's hot and you're sweaty and you're tired and you have to get up at 4:30 and you might be there till midnight. 3 or 4 days of that, your recovery is about the same time as the recovery of a convention. They're
Oh
very
yeah.
much alike. Mental, physical, emotional, time consuming, but they're both passions of mine, so I'm not ever going to complain about it.
Oh
Right.
yeah. You love
Um.
what you're doing. You never work a day in your life.
Exactly. I will tell you,
True.
a lot of people. We touched on this, so you may actually know him because I know you did voices in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I believe. I can't pronounce her name.
I
So
did one. Her name was Panina.
Nina,
And
that's right.
what's funny about her is I only did a day or two
Hmm.
because they just call you in. Can you be here with this director at this time? And they're like, yeah, yeah, she was the first one that this person made into a weapon. She's called the Little Thief, and go. And then you leave. And I had no idea that anyone, because it's a huge show,
Right.
cared about her until I did a poll with my fans and said, what prints would you like? I didn't know she was anything important arc or even interesting. I just knew I went in a couple of days.
She's important. I I can tell you.
They don't tell us that. I had no idea for many years, but I appreciate that you think that.
Well, we actually talked to maybe I don't know if he's a friend of yours, but we talked to a man named John Swayze. He was
I love John Swayze.
we got to talk to him and interview him on here a couple weeks ago. And matter of fact, I don't know when this episode will be coming out, but I know for a fact that we actually are getting him down here to do like a
Yay.
little meet and greet.
Oh
Um
God, he's the best. He's just, I can't say anything negative about that man and his sweet family.
he seemed really nice to the entire time though, by the way.
And he's genuine. He is not fake. I can say that.
The entire time this man we were interviewing him and he was just sipping on some Jack and Coke and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a man to my heart.
And he is, and he's a Southern gentleman. He stands up when women come or leave the table, or he says, yeah, I'm too tired. I know I should, but I'm too tired. Like, so he's blatantly honest. Like, he's very dry witted. His personality reminds me a lot of my father. Obviously, they're like 30 years difference in age, but his wit and that glint in his eye make me feel at home. Like, because I know it so well, and I think he's amazing, and his daughter Olivia,
we're
and the
trying to
whole
get her on
family.
here right now. We're trying to
She's
get
a
Olivia
hoot.
in.
Oh, she's a hoot. You'll love her.
She played Alice in Borderland. That's one of my favorite animes. So I was like, "Hey,
I
John."
Yeah, she's amazing. You'll have a great time.
Tank, did you want to say something? You look petrified.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm always petrified. You know this. So, looking through everything that you've done, you're in one of my favorite animes, The Wise Man's Grandchild, and you
Oh
played
my
Melinda.
God.
I ran across that one as the manga first,
Hmm.
and the manga pulled me in, and then I found out that they brought it into an anime, and I was like, oh my god, I love this. And I found it on Crunchyroll, and I've been everything.
I love that. And that's another role. It's like, I love that role. She's different. She's like a post Chi Chi, like she was a warrior and now she's a wise grandmother co-raising her grandchild with her ex-husband. I love all of that stuff. She has some attitude. I loved the show, and you never know what's going to take off and what's not going to, but I do get people that love the show, and I really that's of all the things I've done in the last couple of years, that's definitely my favorite.
It's awesome because when when you get into it, when it first starts off, You know, it's the wise man, and your character's called the guru, and they're training their grandson. But it's funny because the whole time they're training him, he's like trying to split a rock in half or something, and they're like, "Kids at 4 years old can already do this," and he's just like, "Oh, okay." It's phenomenal.
And we also don't want him, he has so much power, we don't want him to discover it without us guiding him.
Yeah,
I love the whole premise, and I love that some people really love it, and it would be wonderful if, maybe it came back for another season.
I would be
That would be
very
great.
happy if it did.
Thank
haven't
you. I
watched
really appreciate that.
I'm sorry to say I haven't watched it. I'm sorry, guys.
Don't be sad. I will never hold anything against anybody who hasn't watched anything I've done.
Well, now you have something else to watch, sir.
That's true. I will tell you this going back to what you said a minute ago, how you really appreciate your fans. We talked to John about this and we touched up on it. And he said that he wants to give people the time of day, basically, just kind of like you did. He wants to give people the time of day and just be like, hey, you're a fan of mine. How are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And that's why to this day, I've had people cut in line, like for Christopher Sabat or Sabat. I don't know how you say it. I'm sorry, Chris. If
It's Sabbath, your first
Sabat.
Sabbath.
Okay. When I met Chris, I went up to him and the guy tried to cut the line. What he would do is he would talk to people and then cut the line and then talk to that other person, then cut the line. So I get it. I understand. But the way I see it, and this has been me for years now, because I've been in that scenario to where somebody has rushed me. They'll turn over to me and say, "I'm so sorry. I'll be done in a minute." I'm like, "Take your time. Like, this is your spotlight." Because
We waited, no, not in my line, but for him, we waited 5 hours. So get everything you can out of it.
right, because the way I see it is, this is your moment. That could be a potential hero. That could be somebody that we grew up on. Take 5-10 minutes. I'm cool. I've already waited an hour and a half. Another 10 minutes is not gonna kill me.
I see that. I see that. Even though I'm not putting myself down, I am not a main character. So I don't have those kind of what I call carnival ride lines. But if someone's being extra chatty and we're just talking, I see the people behind them not being annoyed. I think everybody kind of understands. And as the people that you guys are coming to see, it's an honor that anyone wants to see us. And it's not like, oh, I want to make them feel good. It's just like, we wouldn't have jobs if you guys didn't watch it. My specific goal as a professional actress before I knew what anime was to work professionally and have people really appreciate my work, have it mean something to them. And that's anime. I didn't know what it was, but I can't think of any other genre that it means so much that people want to argue about the arcs and what would happen if this and hypotheticals. And so I think most of us genuinely want to interact with the people we don't know they're going to see us when we go in a booth by ourselves and don't know what, who is watching it and what do they think. And so I think it's a mutual thing, to want to spend time with each other.
And see, I think that's one of the beautiful things with it because, when y'all go to cons or events or, what have you, and you're meeting everybody, number one, there's a lot of logistics that are involved with getting y'all down here, flights, hotels, schedules, and everything. So I'm sure throughout the day you get tired, because you're having to deal with all this. But the ones that truly do it for the fans that enjoy the interactions and everything, you can see between the fans, between the actor, the voice actor, you can see that joy. Like the Mississippi Comic Con we just had, I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, and Austin St. John.
Me too. I've never met one I didn't like. I didn't watch the show, but I have liked every one of them that I've met.
So we had a table, and before it was shortly after it opened, I brought Funko Pop over and stood in line for Austin St. John to have him sign it. And I didn't think nothing of it at first because I was just standing there talking with the other fans, and I looked and realized it was taking a little bit, but I wasn't mad about it because I mean it's a childhood hero.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be mad at all.
And
So
Austin was chatty.
yeah. So I'm standing there talking to people, and I look, and I'm watching Austin, and he's taking his sweet time, just
Mhm.
getting to know people. He taught one kid a couple things of karate, and I'm just like, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah,
You get it.
I've heard. I don't know of any offhand, but I have heard tale of people that don't look up and just sign, and like I can't imagine like that anyone like people apologize if they can't buy something, and I'm like, wow, I'm so disappointed that you came to my table to tell me you enjoy my work. Like, I mean, I can't imagine not just being in awe that somebody cares enough to stand in line to come say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get it if your line is insanely long and people are waiting, 5, 6 hours, and you don't have much of a choice but to just jot down your autograph, look up, give them a handshake, and send them on their way. That's fine. You've got a time limit. You have to do what you have to do. But for
Right.
the most part, I mean, there's nothing but love throughout the whole thing, and it's awesome.
I love it. That's why I love conventions. And so many of the attendees are buying things for family or friends. They'll be like, I like your show, but my brother really loves the show. He can't be here, so I want to get him a print. And that's half my sales are sweet fans that may or may not love the show themselves, but definitely are trying to someone couldn't be there and they're gonna buy them something, and it's just really sweet.
I've done that for Tank specifically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I still have to go down there and give him that autograph. I've not had the
Wait, who?
Adam.
Oh,
So while I think it was at Lubbock, while he was over there, he got
yep.
the Red Space Rangers autograph for my
Mhm.
sister's boyfriend. I just have to get
Oh,
down to
nice.
her house to give it to him.
That's awesome.
I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to Texas though, unless I have to, because all I
Oh,
did was
come
sitting
on.
in a no, all I did was sitting in a truck, and I got burned all the way down on my arm, and it was
But
bad.
okay, dude, there are other areas. You were in West Texas, which is the hottest.
Right.
There are other times of year. Our falls and springs are wonderful. I get it. That's not a good taste. That was hard for me. I'm from North Texas. West Texas was way worse. But I promise you, Texas is so big. There's some places you'll like, and some just do fall or spring, and you'll be happy about it.
I'll be golden.
Okay.
So I want to say that you do have a couple things on here on your behind the voice actor that I'm looking at. And one of your friends under your trivia is Miss Wendy Powell.
Oh my God. She's she's one of my favorite people. We met doing a play, and I wasn't even like I ended up playing an ingenue, which I hate because I'm a character actress, but I was young at the time. And I replaced someone that dropped out and didn't know anything about it. And then Wendy and I met, and it was just like immediate friendship. And
Mhm.
so we really helped each other. I introduced her to anime and got her hooked up with Funimation because they needed a girl with a very grovelly voice. And she introduced me to her boss, who is now my husband, Mitch.
That's
And
awesome.
she's also one of my booking agents, Pow Talent. She is so talented. She was Envy in Full Metal. She's been in hundreds of shows. But Wendy just telling me about her day, just like, what'd you do today? Will have me laughing to tears like she's like a Chris Rock stand-up. She should be a stand-up comedian because she's not even trying to be funny. So,
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. That you guys had it on there, and I think she has it under hers as well. That friend of, and it says it right there. Yeah, it does. Friend of. Um, but yeah, I thought that was cool because I knew her as Envy. Um, so yeah,
She's so talented. And it's so funny because I went to one convention. It was like I don't know, everybody. It had live action people, it had anime, and then it had sports guys. And on my banner that they made, they had Wendy Powell's picture. I, la- I laughed so hard. I'm like, I guess they looked at you pull me up. She might appear, and they're like, that's the best picture. And it's funny. If we're at shows together, we do a BFF panel and just laugh and riff off of each other.
Nice.
that's awesome. Now what's that? You said you're gonna make me a voice actor now? Let's go. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can't make you. I can help advise you.
Oh, please do. I'd love any critique, any advice. I mean, you saw me do the Napa at the con, and I just want to
Yes.
say, Tank. I just want to say, Tank. All three voice actors, Boma, Butter, and Chi Chi, all said that I did good on Napa. So I was like,
I mean,
yeah.
I
You
never
did.
said you didn't.
Well, and you did. But what they're really going to want to hear is just your quality of sound and you playing you. So if you do an audition, you don't want to mimic people as much as they just want to hear my voice is not a classic. I'm not high Japanese schoolgirl. I'm not low and seductive. I'm not gravelly tough. Um, so for like 15 years, I still am the mom, the house, the
Yeah.
person that's in charge of the girls at the board, because they said there was a quality of warmth they like. You never know
Yeah.
what it's going to be, but I think you can Google, I want to be a voice actor, and you will get so many different workshops and
I know. I've seen them.
vehicles to get you there. That's what I would do. And do acting. You have to be an actor. So take any drama classes, improv classes, do theater, all that.
I've taken improv in high school. Um, the one thing that I told, so there was a guy, he's a voice actor as well. We've had on a lot of voice actors, and if you would have told me that we would have been talking to you and the people that I grew up listening to and that Tankus grew up listening to, I would have called you crazy. It's simple as that.
You still call me crazy.
I do.
All right. Okay. On that note, if anyone told me when I started my acting career, one day you're going to go to conventions and people are going to stand in line to meet you and they're going to want to pay for your autograph, and then some guys on a podcast want to actually interview you, I'd be like, what? I live in Fort Worth, Texas. What are you talking about?
Well, I live in Mississippi, so I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Well, I
Da,
went
da,
to
da, da, da.
Mississippi for college. I love Mississippi.
Hey, everybody,
I
she
do.
went to Ole Miss, by the way. I don't know if you want to
Don't
keep
judge
watching.
me, but I loved the Mid-South. My experience there was good. Mississippi is my second home to me. It was 4 of my favorite years.
We also have
And
Morgan Freeman.
We do have Morgan Freeman.
Pardon?
There are a
All
lot of
right.
people that come from Mississippi, sir. So don't think you couldn't go anywhere.
That's true.
No, I know I didn't come from there, but I'm honored to be there. I loved it. In fact, my cousin and I were talking about why the Mid-South is not more. We're like, okay, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, they're beautiful. Alabama, I like that they're underrated if you don't want a lot of people there. So
There really are
it's
a lot of beautiful spots around here.
and a lot
there
of
is.
really nice people. It's not like, I don't think it's like they show in the 60s. When I went to Ole Miss, there were no race relation issues, and James Meredith came and the student body made amends. I'm not going to defend any of that. There are still bullet holes in the Lyceum columns, but what I'm saying is my experience having people of color in my dorm, in my classes, we didn't ever think of it. Like we just all it was just we were all happy to be there. And so it's not what a lot of people expect.
No,
Yeah.
But I
I
did
agree.
part of the reason I connected you was like, you're a Mississippi boy. I love Mississippi boys.
Yep. Born and bred here and still here. I was in Alabama and I moved back because I was just like, yeah, no, this ain't it for me. Alabama is not it for me, Chief. So yeah.
There's something about it. I've moved away a few times, and I always wind up back here.
So I will tell you because I'm ADHD as I don't know what.
Mitch.
Um so the guy we interviewed, his name is Michael Yurchek. He voices Obito from Naruto. And
Okay.
you can ask Tank, I was fangirling because Naruto is my thing. And I told him, I was like, since I was a preteen, I wanted to be a voice actor. Like, I grew up wanting to be a voice actor. That's the whole reason I went to theater.
And that's what's funny is, sorry to interrupt, but it
No,
has to do with this. We didn't know what that was when I was just wanting to be a professional actor.
yeah,
But I do know people who that was their goal and they are succeeding. So don't give up the dream. But
that
why limit yourself? There's so many
that
genres.
that's what Michael said. He was like, "Hey, you're behind the mic. You're doing what you can, and that you're acting." So I was like, "I mean, yeah." But it was like when I was a teenager, I thought I was gonna be a voice actor for like anime and movies and stuff. That this is gonna sound stupid, but but my full name is JKW. Those are my initials. So one day I was at school and I made a J, a cursive J, and then drew the line out, made the K, and then made the W, and they all connected. I'm like, that's my autograph signature. Like I made an
See, you
autograph
are already,
signature.
yes, you're already projecting. No, I would jog. Yes, I was young and thin and fit at one time, and I would jog and I'd be like, in my inner head, I was like, it sounds so stupid, but I was like, in my head, I'd be like, they don't know who you are. They don't know who you are. I never dreamed of being famous, wealthy, moving to either coast. But it's true, as a voice actress, I'll see somebody in a Dragon Ball Z t-shirt out at the mall and they don't know who I am.
Mhm.
So just putting it out there and like focusing on it. There's a lot of power. And again, my other specific goal, I don't think I'll be rich or famous, and that's not what I'm after, but I want people to care about my work. That was a very random specific goal. So I think
Yeah.
you're on the right track.
Thank you. I think you're on the right track too.
Aw, thank you.
So let's talk about your favorite. And I think you told me this was your favorite, not just because it's on the website because you've answered it, but you told me at the con that your favorite um voice acting gig was
Uh-huh.
Mitzi? I think that's her
Uh,
name.
no, I know what you're saying. Not, I can't
Shin-chan?
pick favorite characters. No,
Okay.
Shin-chan. My favorite show to work on was it's either called Crayon Shin-chan or Shin-chan, just depending on, I guess, where you stream it. But
Yeah.
because it was their slice of life comedy, irreverent, Family Guy, South Park, Simpsons. And I was a lead in that. My son is Shin-chan. And
I
I
didn't
just
know that.
immediately, yes, I play the mom, and she's so nerdy. I just knew already she was gonna sound like this. And she's so weird, and he's so weird, and she tries so hard to have a normal family, and it's not. And she loves discount meat and back issues of Sky Mall magazine. So I liked the randomness of the sense of humor. Kids like the silliness of the sense of humor, and then adults they're like, no, they did not just say that. Like I had to ask. I'm 12 years older than the guy that directed me at the time, and we both present as more socially conservative than we are. I look like a soccer mom. So he had no idea what kind of sense of humor I have, but I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say on your show. It's not going to be a cuss word or anything awful, but if I could give you an example, you guess you can edit it out if it's not
Oh
okay.
yeah,
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 say whatever
we
you
got
want.
it.
Okay, so this is a soft example because there were worse things. But, Mitzi often says weird things and it's a joke, and I don't know why it's a joke. And this particular one had to do with a glory hole, and it had something about a glory hole. And they were laughing. I go, why? What is that? Like, why is that funny? And to
Wait.
watch,
You didn't know what it was?
dude, I'm a middle-aged lady who's married. Why would I know what one was? That was like there was never any reason. Women's restrooms don't have that. The people I dated in the 80s, 90s, and aughts until I got married, there was that I was a relationship girl, so I wasn't out at the clubs with those kind of things. So it was really funny though because he looks at me as much older, and it was like, oh my god, I've got to explain to my aunt what the hell a glory hole is. Because like I said earlier, I'm a why person. I want to know why that's a joke, and I'd never heard of one at like 40 something. So then that became the game. Anything naughty that I didn't understand why it was a joke was to look out the window and have him turn bright purple. And one time he was like, Google it. Like, I'm not telling you. And I did, and I came back with the wrong answer. And he demonstrated what it was. So there was just so much laughter for so many reasons. Like I love that she has to pedal her son on the bicycle uphill to school every day. But she loves a good deal, right? And she don't want him to be late, but she loves a good deal. So she's past the grocery store and she's almost up the hill, and she hears a guy on a bullhorn that is advertising irregular tampons. Think about that for a minute. Irregular tampons. And she's like, irregular? That's me. She rolls backward all the way down the hill. And now I'm going, what about her is irregular? But whatever it is, it's on sale and it's worth her kid being late to school. So that was just so much fun. Did I go too far?
Oh, no,
you're
you're
good.
fine.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall during these conversations.
You are. I'm telling you the conversations.
Jeez, Tank, get it together, man.
I'm talking
I
about when
mean,
they first happened. Just to see
when
his reaction.
when it first came out, my first episode, Shin, my son, wants more allowance, so he goes on a pee strike where he's not going to pee all day.
Oh.
And I'm just sitting there going, this is so stupid. What do you think you're the Gandhi? What do you think you're the Gandhi of pee? And really he's just hurting himself by not peeing. And, he gets the baby Hema and the dog, and they parade around. And she literally said, and this would not be okay today. And so maybe that's why we don't do this show anymore. She says, is it too late to abort? So it's the kind of show where little kids are going to see silly and laugh. People who have a rando sense of humor, like irregular tampons, are going to laugh. Or something so irreverent and just off and not okay. You're like, did they say that?
Yeah.
So yes, I did. I loved it. And she was elite. So selfishly, I was on more. I was making more money and having a blast.
Have you ever heard of an anime called Ghost Stories?
Yes, but I get confused because Yu Hakusho means ghost stories, and I know they're not the same show.
No, Ghost Stories was...
No, Ghost Files. I'm sorry, Ghost Files.
I've seen that. I've seen that actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Ghost Files. There was an anime called Ghost Files. It wasn't Yu Hakusho. But Ghost Stories was a 2000s anime, and it is bad. Like, if it got aired today, it would be so canceled within like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And
it'd be canceled after the first episode.
right.
But
And
you know what? You can say that about shows from the 30s and 40s, the early Bugs Bunny, with their, like stereotypical name a race or something, like the skunk. Pepe Le Pew has been canceled because he was always me tooing the cat. So
yeah.
I think a lot of stuff would be canceled and has been.
Well, oddly enough, we didn't know this when we interviewed him, but John plays the president or the
Principal. Yeah.
principal on the show, and we were like dying laughing about it because it's just such a bad show. And I tell you what, I'm not gonna say anything on it, but I will send you a clip. It's like 30 seconds, and I will
I
send
would
you
love
that clip.
that. But see, I think part of this is generational.
Yeah,
As Gen Xers, I'll date myself. I'm 54. I was born in 69, and John is a boomer on the cusp of being. So we grew up in a time where it was socially acceptable for everybody to make fun of everybody. So, like, if Eddie Murphy made fun of white people, that was hysterical. And you had, Blazing Saddles, where Richard Pryor and I can't believe
Gene Wilder.
he's Mel Brooks. Gene Wilder's in it. Mel Brooks. So you have a Jewish man and a black man making fun of their own and everyone else's races. And so those were our first impressions. It's not like we're picking on anyone. It's like we are all subject to be made fun of because that makes life interesting, and so it's gotten, I understand now why things are offensive, but our generation is just more prone to it because that's what was out there. Nothing was socially appropriate humor wise when we were growing up. I'm not defending it, and I'm not also against it. I think I kind of like the fact that you could make fun of a white chick and I'm not going to be offended by the stereotypical white chick. And it was funny. And I also see how other people could say, man, this is not okay. So
Yeah.
I'm not here to speak on that, but I can kind of explain why our generation had so many shows like that.
yeah, yeah. I have you. So it's weird. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and it said, "When you realize you're the old people in the store that look at teenagers now, and you just dislike them." And I'm like, I have been in that situation now, and I'm
I
like,
know, but I try not to dislike them because I think they have a lot of perspective that we can learn from too. But yes, I can't tell people's ages. Are they 16? Are they 25?
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not going to
Hank
try to
is old
throw
as
them in
shit.
the.
I know
Yeah,
you
the
ain't
older you get, the
16.
less you can tell how old people are.
Hank
And
is
like
old
the
as shit.
weirdest thing is like growing up listening to alternative music, and then I'm at the grocery store and I'm hearing what was wild and alternative in my day at the grocery store.
Green Day
That
is now old music, old classic
Yes,
music.
Green Day could be played in an elevator or in the spa, and you're just like, wow, this was really, Kurt Cobain, Nirvana is in the grocery store. That
Went
really
in.
kind of is humbling.
I went in one day and heard Lincoln Park, and I'm like, why? Am I getting that
I
old
haven't even
already?
heard that in the grocery store. I know it. I remember being surprised when the songs from the 70s became classic. Because as a little kid, when my dad listened to classic, we were in 50s and 60s. And then, I'm in my early 20s and 70s and 80s as classic. Oh my goodness. I know we're way off topic, but anyway,
Good.
it's perspective.
I will tell you, Tank's been around since the dinosaurs were roaming.
I know
I
you
doubt
ain't
he's
talking.
older than me. Tank is not older than I am, and if he is, not by far. I can't see because you guys are little on my screen.
I'm 62 years old.
62.
Lord, okay. I thought you were, well, you're only
I'm kidding.
6 years
kidding.
older. Okay, well,
Kidding.
you'd only be
Kidding.
7 years older. I can't tell anymore, but I feel like I'm the older one in this group.
Yeah, I turned 36 later this year.
Oh my gosh, I could be your mother. I would have been 20. No, it would have been 18. I'd have been a young mother, but that used to be
You're
the norm.
3 years older than my mom.
See, I look
Way
at
to-
you guys, and to me, you guys are kiddos. And I remember I loved my 30s because you just become an adult at 26 when your brain finally develops. And then in your 30s, you think you know everything and you have the youth of the physical youth, but you're starting to like know who you are. I loved my 30s. My 40s, I went through a lot of hard stuff. 50s, you're just kind of like, hey, I made it this long. And
I'll be shocked.
now, oh, it's great. You can be like, you can be the old eccentric person that's like confused, and so people are more patient with you, and you can just be like, I'm so sorry, and they look, poor old lady. And there's some benefits to it.
On the inside, you're like, I got you.
Gotcha, bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm not out to get people, but if I kind of know that I'm kind of someone's irritated with my level of low techness, or I mess up something, I can just like, oh goodness, I am so sorry. Oh me, I start talking like I'm in my 80s and with my glasses on, you kind of get out of some stuff.
I'm gonna start doing that, Joe.
Yeah, just be like, Cynthia, how do you work this computer?
You guys are not old enough. You've got at least 20 years, 15 to 20 years where you can pull that. Not going to work at this age.
Fair.
You're the prime age.
Now, I'm at 30. I haven't figured anything out.
Neither
Okay,
have I.
that's a great start. Just enjoy it because that really is your physical and mental prime. So just have fun and relish it because you blink and it goes away. I met my husband at 32. We were both 32. We were young and on our way. And now we're 54, which is not old. It is definitely middle age. But if I look at 22 years down the road, I'll be 76. I'm in the middle. If I go back, I was 32. If I go forward from where I am now, the same amount, 76. That's a huge difference.
Yeah. See, Tank, you're in your prime, buddy.
Now that I think about it, I kind of am.
Yeah.
22 years ago, I was 13, about to be 14.
Yeah, and those are great times, but I really loved my 20s and 30s. I loved them. And I love my 50s.
That's a good outlook.
Yeah, it's all about having fun and enjoying yourself.
And the weird thing is, when you get our age, like my husband and friends and I have the same sense of humor we did in freaking middle school. And then I think, wow, when I was in my 20s and my parents were in their 50s, I never dreamt they felt the same as I did, with all the same jokes, sense of humor, I thought surely nobody in their 50s has any interest in sex. Surely, they're past all that. They're just on the cusp of being old. And now I'm like, I still feel like I'm in my 30s, but I'm not.
That's a good mindset, though. I hope I make it to 50. I hope.
Oh, you should. Just don't.
I don't like that. I don't like that hesitation. You should.
No, I think you will. I can't promise anything, but I guess I had grandmothers that lived to be in their mid to late 90s, so it never occurs. My mother at 83 still rides and shows horses. My aunt of 86 works out 5 days a week. My grandmother's sharp into their mid-90s, so it's just a positive attitude. I mean, I could go tonight. This could be the last thing anyone hears of me, but I'm trying to be healthy. So, anything can happen. We don't know, but I
Right.
fully expect you guys will make it at least to my age.
That's right, Tank. You're gonna live forever.
I don't know about that. I'll get to her age and then decide then.
We'll get there. That's a
Okay.
future
I,
me.
I
That's a
look forward to it. That's one thing. The future's never certain, so you never know what you could come across or what could happen. So it's kind of exciting.
And it is very exciting because one day you can feel like I am so, like I said, I'm only in bit parts in the big shows. I'm so washed up. And then I go to a show when someone wants me on their podcast. I'm like, oh,
right.
people care. And then I get home and I get booked for something that it's an NDA, but I can say it's someone I voiced before and I get to fight. I can't
Nice.
say what kind of project it is or the show or the character, but I'm like,
100%
wow. Yeah, you guys can speculate. I'm not gonna say, but
Yeah, I don't
I
want
get
to
to
get you
do
in
that.
trouble. Understand?
I get to do that in 2 weeks, and I'm just like, just when I think things are drying up, or I'll get called in for a new part, or in my day job, I might work really hard. I'm an apartment locator, and I work straight commission, and people ghost me after I've worked hard for them, and then somebody will find something that I didn't even put on their list and say, you worked so hard, we're putting you down, and that's the kind of the fun of it. And when one of my 4 jobs is lacking, the other ones will balance them out. And so I just sort of live in a state of gratitude of, thank you, this is going to work out.
Yeah.
And it does.
I
It's not
agree.
always great. I had some real crap years, but I bounced back and I'm in a really great place now. And you just got to stay in the moment, man.
Yeah, that's the attitude we need to get, Jay.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like we do. You got to understand. Um, I was in a okay place. It wasn't horrible. Now, Tank, on the other hand, Tank, do you wanna say it?
I've been through the ringer more times than I care to admit, and
Same.
I try to keep a smile on my face and my head up in the clouds, but it it doesn't always work. And what we're doing now with the podcast, that's helped tremendously. You know,
Full
Good.
180.
this time last year, I was ready for it to be over with. But
I'm so
I
smart.
stuck around for my friends and my family, and then back in March, we left the Anime Fest here in Jackson, and he was like, "You want to start a podcast?" And I'm like, "Sure." And our first episode dropped April 1st. We've been doing this 3.5 months now, and my mental and emotional state has done a complete 180 from last year. So I
Oh, that
am
makes me
grateful for
so
that.
happy.
Just from
I
the
mean,
podcast.
no, I get it. I have been through multiple suicides of friends, overdoses of friends, mysterious friends who passed, divorced parents, death of my grandmothers that were my everything, a house fire, a tornado, you know, um, uh, my husband's family going through things. And I've just realized to compartmentalize and, like you said, it can change overnight. My 30s were hard. My husband and I knew at 34, after 2 years, we wanted to get married, but life kept happening with illnesses in the family, deaths, job losses, debilitating car wrecks. Oh nine, everything's cool. We go to Jamaica and just elope. And then in my 40s, went through probably my worst time with family stuff and making bad choices, which I did make some really bad choices, which all you can do is realize that and stop that. But I think that's what's interesting. I didn't I didn't realize that, so many bad things can happen in a row, and you think it's never going to stop, and then you might have several years of nothing horrible happening, and you just never know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, the only thing the only thing that's really good happening right now is this podcast for me, at least. Everything's fine. It's not horrible. Me and my wife are still happily married. I have a roof over my
That's
head.
huge.
I
That's
have
huge.
I have a car. I got a job. I work at a pawn shop, and that's a good job for me.
Exactly. It
So,
is.
oh, I just accidentally knocked my phone over. Anyway, um, but yeah, I'm thankful for what I have. It's not bad right now. But the podcast has made me thankful. Me and Tank were just talking about this the other night. We just hit over 100 followers,
Yeah,
and
we're at like
That's
109 now.
great.
yeah, to us that
That's
means
exciting to watch it grow. You guys are really good at this.
thank
And
you.
I'm inspired because my sister, who's 3 years older than me, she does merch and roadieing and some booking for a lot of the Austin bands in Texas.
Mhm.
She's determined that she and I need a podcast called the Sisty Ugglers because
Do it.
my dad used to call us the two Sisty Ugglers, meaning ugly sisters, which he did not think we were ugly. So it was not an insult. It was a joke.
Yeah, right.
But, she's like, we have a lot to say about a lot of things. We would never get political or religious, but we're women of a particular age that's been through some stuff. And I keep saying, yeah, because I know nothing about the production of it. And, I don't know anything about it, but she is right. We kind of like you guys bouncing stuff off each other. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea of what would we have to share, and you know, it's it's very interesting. I might have to pick your brains about it offline someday.
Yeah,
Go
absolutely.
for it.
I say do it. And going back to the podcast part of it, or podcast aspect, is that we like I told you a few minutes ago, I would have never thought that I would sit down, talk to you, talk to Zordon, talk to Obito, or talk to any of these big names. In us, it's big names, and the 100 people that we do have, we're thankful for, we're happy for.
And
Um,
we never thought we would be considered a big name. I can't emphasize that enough.
yeah. I think you guys know. I think you guys know.
No, no, not when you're day jobbing. So I apartment locate, I'm a pet sitter. So I'm cleaning up other people's dogs' mess, dropping them off, picking them up. I'm doing a thankless job of apartment locating where I work straight commission and working hard. And all I need for them is to put me down as their reference and let me know where they lease. And a lot of times that doesn't work out. And then may or may not, I might work for a full season or I might not work for 3 months. Um, it, it's just very interesting. So I don't feel that special. Like today, what I did was do some house chores, make some good old Southern egg salad. And later, after we get off this, I'll be hand watering my front lawn because we don't have a sprinkler system. But also, these are the kind of that's when I don't feel at all like a big name. My husband's like, you be the one to run to the convenience store. You take the dog out. I'm like, you do this. But those also are some of the best days when I can just be a wife and, you know, piddle around my house and garden and clean.
Yeah.
Just,
I,
just sit back and enjoy a normal day.
just be normal.
Yes.
Don't be angry like Chi Chi is.
No. Oh, it takes a lot to get me there. I've done it only a few times, but they deserved it. But no, the normalcy is wonderful. It's like my favorite kind of day, but I can't lie and say that when I'm, about to be introduced on stage at a convention, that I'm not excited to for that complete change of roles where someone's like, I can't believe I'm meeting you. And I'm like, I can't believe you can't believe you're meeting me, because in my world with my family and friends who I adore and adore me, I am not a big deal. For my clients, I am not a big deal. So it sounds weird to hear big name. So I'm not being humble when I say that.
Right. I I will tell you this about your podcast escapades. Is that the right word?
Yes.
That might be, I'm going to throw that out. The two Sisty Egglers, but escapades sounds great.
Okay. So I will tell you about your podcast idea. We actually got online a couple nights ago. We got online on a chat site. We were just having fun, having a couple beers, and that's about it. And we ran across this guy. Okay, and he had a mic. He was really cool. He was really chill about everything. And he asked me and Tank. He's like, "Let me ask y'all something. If I wanted to do a podcast, what do I need to do? I mean, I got the equipment and everything." And I
We
just
don't
kept,
have any of the equipment.
but that's the thing. That's what I told him. I was like, "Man, just do it. It doesn't matter if you have the equipment. It doesn't matter if you have a fancy mic or anything. This mic came to me after I had money to get it. But
I
bef-
have some equipment
mhm,
because I had to work remotely during COVID, but without the engineer in my ear at the studio telling me what to do, I don't know what to do with it. But I think we could probably find a studio that we could pay for that to let us come hourly every week or whatever.
right. Well, see, that's the thing. We Tank and I didn't have a studio. We had Discord and our headset, which is this right here, which I took out, and you had the little mic. And that's it. That's all we had. And we just sat down and talked to each other. And that's why I tell people I've had 3 people ask me and Tank, how do you start a podcast? I'm like, just do it.
Well,
You don't,
I'm going to be
you
the
don't,
fourth, and we'll do this off air because my sister's been, she's a very clear vision and she's so passionate. She's like a freight train, my older sister. You just get on the Kelly train and you don't know where you're going, but it's always going to be a magical adventure where you'll end up places you never dreamed. You could be on Willie Nelson's bus, or my favorite, besides being on his bus, he wasn't on it. Our friend was friends with his road manager, and he came to our local Billy Bob's Texas, and our friend got us in backstage, and we were sitting on his amp, like the things that the amp cases in the
yeah,
wings,
yeah.
right? And this was in the 90s, so we were young and cute, and he was not 100. But we could see his vantage point, like what it looks like to see the audience out there. And at one point, he turned around and made eye contact and winked at both of us, like, I see y'all there. And like that was one of my most epic moments of my life. You have not been winked at, so you've been winked at by Willie Nelson. And what that has to do with podcasts, I don't know, except those are the kind of stories maybe we could share.
Yeah, you could do it.
Well, I would tune in for it.
I would too.
Oh,
Of course, you're like one of my favorites. So, yeah.
that means, I'm not just saying that. That means so much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I got a lot of favorite voice actors, but you're on that list right now because I don't know if anybody else who would just sit there and talk to me at the table for almost an hour and a half just to
And
entertain me.
I feel like we're like having same kind of, I feel like maybe you guys had in mind what you wanted to talk about, and I've just taken us all over and out of the realm of the stuff you wanted to discuss, and I
So
apologize.
the
We wing
fun
it.
fact about us is when we start an episode, we do have most of the time we do have like questions and stuff lined up. But to this date, every episode we've taken a left turn, and not once have we asked all the questions. We get wrapped up in telling stories or listening to stories or doing hypotheticals like, what would you do if you won 500 pounds of nacho cheese?
Mm,
at a contest.
that
So
sounds so good.
it
I
never
love
turns out
that.
how we want it, but it always turns out better than expected.
Yeah.
Because you're just being you and not like sticking to a strict format.
Exactly.
Well,
Now,
what else? I'm sorry. I
you're
don't mean to
good.
lead.
There are things that we have to do, like the intro and the outro and all that, but everything in between, it's up in the air.
Yeah.
Well, any questions that we didn't get to? Because
Yes.
we've been pontificating about life. Okay.
Yes. How was it? How was it, in your opinion, that you played Botan?
Oh, how was it like? How did I do, or how did I enjoy it, or how
Did
did it
you? Yeah.
happen?
Did you enjoy it?
Oh my gracious, yes. That was the second big show I was on. And she's the anti Chi-Chi. She's cute, she's sexy, she is sassy, but she's not a psycho. And she has her own powers, and I loved the story. I mean, that's why I say I can't pick a favorite character. It's Botan, it's Chi-Chi, it's Mitzi. Close second are going to be Bellamere and Panina, or the woman from, Wise Man's Grandchild, Melida from, but the Botan's one of my favorites, and interestingly to me, because it ended so long ago, new generations are discovering it and starting to sell as much, if not more, Botan merch than Chi-Chi merch. And so that's interesting. I didn't, I love that people are revisiting it or newly discovering it. But yeah, I loved it.
Yu Hakusho was like one of my favorites. I forgot his name.
Thank
He's
you.
the
Kuwabara.
no, it wasn't
Justin?
which. Hmm?
Justin Cook? Justin
Yes.
Cook? Yusuke. Well, he was my director, and he lived down the street from me, and for a while was without car. And this is
Hmm.
what's funny. This is how small Funimation was. They had 3 studios, 3 shows going on. So, the 15 actors all knew each other. And he was like, "Hey man, I need a ride to this." So he would set me at the 10 o'clock, which is when the earliest they record, and I'd be his ride to work every day. And he made me go on a snow day where I was like, "Are you kidding me? The schools are closed." Like, what? But that put us at a whole different level of friendship besides professional. We never were like hanging out strictly socially like Wendy and I, but it was such a collaborative, wonderful friendship that I try not to take advantage if I have a question to bother him because he's such a big wig producer now
Yeah.
at Crunchy. But to see it go from me giving him a ride to where he's gone to, and he's earned and deserves every bit of what's going on with him.
That makes sense. What is that dude's name? The dude with the rose.
Oh, that's Karama.
That's my favorite character.
Oh, who plays that one?
Let's find out.
We're gonna find out. Are you gonna find out?
Yeah, I'm about to.
I'm not. I'm afraid to touch my phone or I'll disappear.
Well, while
All
he's
Saint Peter.
who?
All Saint Peter.
I have never met that Okay, this is how weird our industry is. I've never met him. And I said his name 5,000 times in the
Yeah.
series.
Sorry, I was wrong. That is Kurama from Naruto.
Oh, boy.
John Bergmeyer.
Oh my god. Okay, he directed me in one Dragon Ball Z movie. His mother is Linda Young, who plays Frieza, and one of my best friends.
Oh, Linda Young?
Yes.
That's his
Yes.
mom?
Yes, and she was in it before he was. Then he became a writer and a director and started voicing stuff. And I didn't get to know Linda until 2016, maybe, when our agent started sending us together on, shows because for me, I'm not a headliner, which does not hurt my feelings. I'm not putting myself down. But like the villains of Dragon Ball Z, those are they've got a saga, 4 years of them being the lead. So we started getting paired up a lot and became super close. She's one of my favorite people, and I love John.
It's weird. It's weird how small I wouldn't say small, but to us it's big, but like
Yes,
it's like a
but it's
small
small.
thing. Yeah. Like I
It
didn't expect you to
is.
know any of these people. Like
But I didn't know her for like, no, 22. So 7 years out of 24. So how many years did I go not knowing her besides hire? Kyle Abear, who plays my dad and my adult son in Dragon Ball, didn't meet him till 2016.
yeah.
17. No, 15. It'd been 16 years of working with each other but never meeting one another till we were at a convention.
Right.
Nice.
I actually messaged both Kyle and Miss Young. I mean, I don't know if you can really see it, but there it is. There she is on Instagram, and I messaged her, and I have not gotten her back yet. But I do want her on here because she is my Frieza. I don't care. I mean, I like the
She's
new Frieza, but she is my Frieza.
and that was not from what she's been told and from what I've heard, that was not a problem with her acting or her version or anything she did. They were when she became Frieza, we were trying to voice match the Canadian English dub because they started it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, when it became Super, they decided to go with what the Japanese was doing, which a man voiced Frieza. And she's gotten to meet him and adores him and harbors no resentments. But yeah, she is. She's so funny. She is the best. If I could play anyone, it would have been her character because wow, really fun.
Yeah.
You'll hear from her. I'll put in a good word, but she's very generous. But you have to understand, besides being out of town almost every weekend and still voice acting and commercial acting, she is in like 4 different bands, like jazz bands, quartets, big bands. So like this woman is 70 and
she looks good for 70. I'm not gonna lie.
My God, she looks good for any age. She does. We'll have dinner at a convention and be in our rooms at 10, and she's going to do Taibo while I watch, Sex in the City. She's doing freaking Taibo.
There it is.
She is a freak of nature and talented and amazing, and her son's really talented too.
I will tell you right now, I'm just by no means am I trying to use you or anything, because that is not the reason you're on the podcast or anything like that. But if you put a good word for us in for Miss Young and Kyle, I will love you forever.
Of course.
I will love you forever.
I absolutely will. 100%. I think that's one of the things I like about networking. I like connecting people that should work together.
I'm going to fangirl if Kyle comes on here. I'm 100% gonna fangirl.
He loves you already, but
now I do not have his phone number. We know each other on a hi, how are you basis, but I can message him on social media. But Linda, I can straight up have a guess what I did last night, and guess these people are awesome, and that kind of thing. So
awesome.
Yeah, we're awesome. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You guys are awesome.
Y'all hear that, people? We're awesome. Chi called us awesome. I don't care what anybody else says. We can go ahead, wrap up this podcast. It's fine. No, I'm done with it. No, I'm just bag it all up. But yeah, that's what I love about being a nerd, is that I can have you on here and I can have all these voice actors, and no matter how many times I have these people on, me and Tank are always gonna fangirl out. I think I'm okay. What?
I'm giddy that anyone's fanboying or girling out. I mean, I know I keep saying it and it's not shtick. It's real. I'm like, wow. I just, stopped making egg salad, and I'm gonna finish that when we get off this. Like, this is how my day is. I'm in the middle of making egg salad, and I'm gonna take a break and do a podcast? Wow.
Can I have some egg salad?
It's gonna be good. I'm doing the southern kind with the dill and the
Oh, he's a
mustard.
southern.
I'm a southern cook. I'm Texas, but I went to Ole Miss, so I'm not a great cook. I made a few really good things, and baked cheese grits is at the number one top of the list. And I learned that from my Mississippi
Roots.
mother of the guy I dated all through college, and
Right.
her cream spinach and her chicken salad or egg salad, and like that's what was fun about today. I got to watch a movie. We watched the Rangers play. We swept not Seattle. Who'd we play today? I don't remember who we played, but we swept them. And meanwhile, I'm just like making egg salad in the background, and then I get to take a break and come play with you guys.
Yeah. I think the reason why because trust me, I probably would be fangirling over the fact that you're on here, but I think what helped me was I talked to you for like an hour and a half plus more at the con, and I got to
I
know you.
know.
I mean,
Yes.
we went on to some personal stuff that I would never in a million years tell actor. And you know,
Yeah. I probably TMI'd you, and I'm sorry if I
fine.
did.
It's fine. I mean, but we shared that
Connection.
it wasn't just a fan to a actor. It was a
No.
connection. And I was like,
Yes, it
that is
was.
why I'm not fangirling, because it's like, to me, you're just Cynthia.
Me,
And ditto. It's amazing, and I'm
No
so
offense.
grateful you guys. No,
Okay.
none taken. That's what I am, and that's who I want to be. And I'm so grateful you guys had me on your show tonight.
meanwhile, he's in the background talking to me like, "Oh, guess whose phone number is in my phone?"
Oh my god.
Well, guess whose phone number's on my phone too?
I have been. I was gonna bring that up
For
off air.
ever since Lubbock, it's been, guess whose number I've got in my phone? And I'm like, who? And he goes, I got Chi-Chi's phone number.
I do.
I'm like,
I don't give that out a lot, but like we really connected and had some real conversations, and I just was really impressed and enjoyed our conversations and the idea of your podcast. And like I said, I was happy to do it. I'm grateful, and it part of made my almost perfect day.
Yeah. I think the last question I got, unless Tank has one. Which,
I'm fangirling over here, man. I'm sorry.
okay, good. That's what we want. But yes, I have been fangirling about that. And I rubbed it in his face a lot. I rubbed it into Tank's face. And then John.
Well, see, then that makes me giddy. I'm like, somebody's like bragging that they may have my phone number. What?
Right.
I told him we've been friends for a decade or more, and I'm like, not once until now have I been jealous of you.
Yes.
Aw.
And then it's become a competition now at this point. But John gave us his number, and I put it in my phone, and I'm like, guess how many I got now, Mr. Tank?
I got John's phone number too, man.
Jokes on him. I have it as well.
Whatever.
I
got two. I don't care.
Yeah,
got
okay.
Justin's number. I got
She has
like Chris
Linda's
Savage's
number.
That don't mistake me. I don't feel like I can just call them all the time, but yeah,
Right.
yeah, I got some people on my phone number I'm really proud of too.
I will tell you, we actually, me and Tank, met Justin Cook over at Birmingham. Was it Birmingham?
He's completely authentic.
yes.
DC is what you get.
He is so sweet, and he was
Was
so
he drinking
kind.
Southern Comfort and having cigarettes?
He smokes? He doesn't look like he smoked.
Maybe he quit.
that's-
He and I used to take smoke breaks. Okay, what I'm
That's what
saying,
Bear said.
he's
Bear.
usually himself, and he grew up in Arkansas. He's a good Southern boy too, man.
Yeah. We I feel like so the first time I met him was over at Anime Fest over here in Mississippi. He was so sweet. He was so nice, and I got his autograph, and it actually faded off, and I was so upset. And I went up to him. I'm like, "Hey, man, can you redo this? And I'll be happy to pay for it." And he's like, "No, dude, don't worry about it." So he tried to do it, and it wouldn't stick. And
Uh-oh.
"You like that? You like the Yusuke one, right?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." And he grabs it, signs it, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry about that. Here you go," and gives me a free print. And I'm like,
That's who he is. He grew up humble and so well raised and so real. This is why he's a huge producer, because he's a musician and he's an
"I can see that."
actor and he has a business side, so he can deal between the corporate and the artistic like nobody else. And what
Right.
you see is what you get. He is one of my favorite people. I'm so honored to know him.
I will tell you, I feel like I got on his nerves on Birmingham because so my producer came up to him, and he was like, "Hey, we would love to have you on, the Bearded Bear podcast at one point in time." And I wasn't around, so I didn't get to give him our card. I didn't get to ask him to come on to our podcast. So by the time he was bombarded by us and the producer, I came up. I'm like, "Hey, Mr. Cook, I still have your autograph. I really appreciate it. Since Mississippi Anime Fest, we have started a podcast. Here's my card. We would love to have you on." And he just looked kind of like, leave me alone." Like, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So
Oh no. You know, dude, I can promise you, I've gotten on his nerves so many times over the past 23 years that he's so laid back. He really is just a laid back, down to earth, don't give it a second thought, because I promise you he didn't. He's
yeah.
genuine,
Well,
real deal.
I figured out from his handler. She was like, "Well, he hasn't eaten yet." And I was like, "Oh, I would get upset too."
He's hungry.
Angry.
So I think, you got any more questions, Mr. Tank?
I think we've covered pretty much everything, man.
Okay, I think I got the last 3 final questions of the Hesitation Station podcast interview, which
All
is
right.
Bum, bum, bum.
number 1. We should add that. We know. Okay. Anyway, number 1, will you follow the Hesitation Station?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. Okay, we got that down.
She's gonna yell at you to study.
Not really. I'm not very naggy.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to put Mitch on, and we need to verify that. I'm just
Oh my
kidding.
God, we can do that. Do you want to do that?
I'm down.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
down?
let's do it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Go for it.
hold on. There's no telling what he's gonna say. It's a funny question, Mitch.
It's
Just
unedited.
pause it. They're editing it.
Or
He
are we?
said that now that I'm going to start following their podcast, that I'm going to become naggy. And I said, I'm not a nag. And he goes, we're going to ask Mitch. The look on his face.
The silence is loud.
Should I be transparent?
No,
She is not a nag. I love her.
But I have cheat out, right?
You can cheat out.
But it takes a lot.
She's not holding you hostage with Bill, right?
That's the golden stuff out of all the material we've talked about. You just got the golden stuff right there.
That's awesome.
It's just like, I don't know. This is a loaded question, my guy.
No, but he's super honest. He will not BS you. If I was a nag, it'd have been like, dude, are you kidding me?
There's a wooden spoon over there with my name on it.
I think the last
But
thing,
he admitted I've cheat out on him. So you
yeah,
can trust him.
come at him with a cooking pan, just plop.
No, that's not how that rolls.
I think the last thing is, or the last 2 things would be to shout out your socials, your socials. That way everybody knows where to follow you.
Okay, well, I'm not really big into the Twitter or the TikTok, but on Facebook, it's just Cynthia Cranz. And it's funny because I'm interacting with a lot of the fan pages, and some of the Dragon Ball Z page people didn't believe it was me because I don't have a check mark.
Yeah.
and
You're not
then also
verified.
on the Instagram, I'm also Cynthia Cranz.
Easy to remember, guys. You would need try to follow our Facebook, because I'll put the videos on Facebook, and that way
Send
you
me
can
all
just
your
share 'em.
links,
Okay.
please, because I'm 54 and I'm forgetful.
Understand.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. We really appreciated you on here, guys. Do not forget to follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We are on everything because I made everything to make sure you guys follow us. So
You did.
our socials are down here, right, Mr. Tank?
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm
yet.
gonna keep doing it until you put the right
It
ones.
depends on how generous I feel, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, make sure you follow all of our socials. Give Miss Kranz a follow as well. Show her some love. Let her know that she
Thank
is
you,
loved and
guys.
important. And we
I
will see
really
y'all.
appreciate all of your support.
Oh, we appreciate you being on here, and we appreciate you guys for listening, just for coming on here. So we'll see y'all next time. Peace. And
Attention passengers, this is your conductor speaking. We are departing the hesitation station. Please stand clear of the closing doors.